This is the new Ducati Monster 797, a true bike designed as a gateway drug into the Ducati family. It's a welcome return also as an entry-level Ducati which has had a 2-year hiatus. It seems the motto for Ducati in 2017 is accessibility and versatility, and those are words that I've used across the Multistrada and the Supersport reviews. This bike here is by far the most accessible. There's a distinct aim towards new riders, younger riders and the female market. And when you look at the ergonomics of this bike, you'll notice compared to the 821 for instance, that the handlebars are a lot closer to the rider. The foot pegs are a lot lower. Combine that with a seat height of 805mm and a wet weight of 182 kilos, and you'll notice that this bike is truly accessible to everybody. So we know that the Monster has a rich history, and I'm joined by Stefan, the product manager now, who's going to give us a bit of a briefing of the history of the Monster. So Stefan, explain to us the whole history behind the Monster.
Well, everything started at the beginning of the 90s with a small sketch by Miguel Galluzzi. It was something very close in a certain sense to the first Monster, but with also some different features. It was a little bit a strange bike, but at the end this sketch developed into what was the first Monster. It was the 900cc. It was presented in 1992 at the Cologne Bike Fair, and then in 1993 we started. Okay. Then in 1993 we started the production of the first Monster. It was the 900cc. And this bike created a brand new category from scratch, the sport naked bike. At the beginning, when the Ducati guys presented this bike at the Ducati dealers, they said, oh, that's nice, this could be really an interesting bike, but I suppose that you are still working on it. No, that's finished. So, okay, so they said, but what's that? It's a naked. It was something like a strange word at that time for a bike, but it all started from there. So now the story is a 25-year-long story, and so far we have sold more than 300,000 bikes. Yes, a huge number for us and a huge number in general. But to be more precise, we are around 315 units sold until now, and so we have so many Monsteristi all around the world. I mean, you have a sort of sub-brand inside Ducati brand, because you say
the Monster.
Now I own a Monster, not I own a Ducati Monster, so it's a real brand in its own.
So the Monster's been around now for 25 years. Do you still see it around in another 25 years?
Oh, for sure. We are absolutely convinced that we will have the Monster also in 25 years from now. And obviously we are still working for the new generation of Monsters that will always be iconic and contemporary at the same time.
We actually got a sneak preview of this bike before the presentation. Now, the weather forecast for our test ride day was very, very grim. So what Ducati did was, as soon as we landed, they brought us to the hotel, we got in our riding gear, and we went straight out and took this bike on a test ride. And the first thing I noticed was just how easy it is to ride, and I think I'll harp on about that through this whole review. This bike is so easy to ride. The torque curve from the 75 brake horsepower engine, which is exactly the same as a scrambler engine, is very linear and very progressive. There's no scary accelerations. It's all nice and smooth, again, aimed at a first-time rider. Now, I know a lot of experienced riders are going to jump on this and they're going to complain that it's too slow. And if you've ridden sports bike, yeah, it is very, very slow compared to those. But that's kind of the beauty of it. It's not meant to be fast, it's just meant to be fun, it's meant to be versatile, accessible and easy to ride. In terms of spec for this bike, it's not going to blow you away. Ducati have kept it really simple. There's only one setting of Bosch ABS, which is non-adjustable. Also, there are no different rider modes to mess about with and fiddle around with. So again, as a first-time rider, nothing's going to complicate you. You can jump on this bike and you can ride it and you can have fun on it. Brakes are Brembo monoblock radial calipers, which you find on the majority of Ducatis nowadays. These brakes are really high spec, especially for this bike. They work wonders in the wet, they work wonders in the dry, and they are really, really good, really solid. The brakes are mounted to 43mm upside down fork. I kind of like the design of the rear shock. It's side mounted, but it is only preload adjustable. But again, it does a really good job. The tank on this is 16.5 litres, and it's exactly the same as the one you find on the 1200 Monster. A tidy little LCD screen gives you all the information you need while you're riding, apart from one thing: it doesn't tell you what gear you're in. There is no gear indicator, which on a bike in this day and age you would have thought would come as standard. One thing Ducati do really well is style. Now on this Monster, I've noticed a few little elements that hark all the way back down the years of this iconic Monster. For instance, the ski boot buckle on the tank, which is synonymous with all Monsters nowadays. The rear swinging arm is the triangular shape of the 2008 Monster. The obvious beauty of that steel trellis frame, which just screams Ducati. And of course the air-cooled engine. There really are only a few little gripes with this bike, and it's nothing major. The rear brake was a little bit lackluster. It didn't really do a great deal, to be honest, especially when you compare it to those front brakes. Trying to find neutral was also a pain on a couple of occasions. The neutral light doesn't always flash on straight away as soon as you find neutral, so you can sometimes find yourself actually in neutral but not thinking you're in neutral, and then all of a sudden the light comes on. But again, they're just small gripes and nothing that's really going to put you off buying this bike. As a first-time rider, I would definitely give this bike a serious look. It's going to take care of all your needs as you build your confidence and you build your experience in the motorcycling world. And before you know it, you're going to be eyeing up that 1200 Monster. There are 3 colorways in this bike: Star White Silk, which is the one behind me here, Ducati Red, and the Black Stealth. Good luck keeping that one clean. There's also a Plus version in all 3 colorways. The only difference between that and a standard is the rear seat cowl and also the fly screen. Prices start from $7,985.